Welcome back to Arise Prime Time. I'm Charles Adeniyi, and this is the point in the program that I introduce our guest analyst, who is here to give his perspective on nearly everything we've covered on the program. And today I'm joined here in the studio by the political commentator, Professor of Communications and Deputy Dean of the Postgraduate School at Bayes University in Abuja, Professor Abiodun Adeniyi. Prof, good to see you.
Good to see you, Charles.
You're the second prof who's been on the show tonight.
Aren't we lucky?
I am extremely lucky. I mean, that's the whole point.
We're also lucky that you're inviting us.
Yeah, but you guys are professors.
Oh, well, thank
so
God.
That means that you're on top of the food chain when it comes to the kind of analysis we're looking for.
Yeah.
But focusing on what we've done today, we had Professor Usman Yusuf at the top. We had David Otto, who's a security expert, after him. Both of them assessing this warning from the DSS. What is your take on that?
I think these are very tricky, delicate times, that we just need to calm ourselves as a collective, whether as private political institutions or government institutions. All hands have to be on deck, realizing that period of transition anywhere in the world, can be very complicated. It comes oftentimes in a triangle. It can be subtle, it can also be exciting. At the same time, it can be dynamic. In a political transition like this, in a transition period like this, especially for a trying democracy, you expect to see lots of anxiety, lots of concern. And I dare say that we have to continue to repeat this, that when we have an election that came very close, you expect post-election tension. And that's what we're going through now, Decibels will be disparate. Some of them will be very heavy, sounding higher than the other. What matters is, how we're able to come to a compromise, compromise against the background of the fact that if we're able to build that compromise, the system will have increased its ability to withstand shock. So I see all these things, as things that are probably looking as if they are shocks to the system, but our ability to define it simply means that, the ability to withstand it simply means that we are growing as a democracy. And however the decibel rises, it's going to steady the ship of state at the end of the day. But again, back to the DSS statement, for me, I just see the statement as being strategic. Yes, I've had calls that maybe the agency should have gone ahead to arrest some people. It's also strategic that they're not doing that in the first instance, because it can also generate tension, generate anxiety.
Yeah, that's
so
a good
much
point.
Of distraction could come as a result. So maybe the next tactics would be, if the parties they are talking about, do not discontinue their plan, they may now, go down cracking on them, maybe with arrest and all of that. So I think they probably will have built their scenarios, moving in stages. The security agencies are usually the most dangerous in the world, because they see us, but you're not seeing them. They are monitoring us, but we hardly are able to monitor them. It's their task to operate in a clandestine way, and they probably know more than we know. So they have made their own statement, and that statement, I think, is loaded, strategic, in the proper sense of it, because it's just meant to alert the populace that this is what we are sensing. But if you need to heed our warning, desist from it if you are continuing in this illegitimate, unconstitutional trajectory. But if you do not discontinue it, we'll probably move to the next action.
Yeah,
that's the way I see it.
Well,
anyway.
do you think that because we may be speculating here, do you think the DSS might have actually got in touch with those people without making it public, and saying, just to the point you just made, and saying, hey,
I don't think so.
We know what's going on, so calm down, but we're not going to pick you up just yet?
No, I don't think so. I don't think they did that, because if they did that, many of those politicians too will have come out to say, yes, they've contacted me. And people are becoming braver and braver. This is not a military regime, it's a democracy. And of course, before you know it, some of them will have even gone to court or will have spoken to their lawyers that, look, I have this kind of call from DSS, and please, we need to take action. I don't think they have done that. It's just, I'm looking at it from the face value. They just sounded a warning, desist from what you're doing. If you continue, we'll move to the next stage, which is arrest, which we do not want to happen in the circumstance. And of course, it's absolutely unnecessary for any arrest to be made now, because delicate times, transition time that is a delicate time where all hands need to be on deck, rather than force I'd rather go for moral suasion.
Well, you talked about the fact that if the DSS were to move and arrest people, that potentially could cause tension or greater tension in society. But some have suggested that the fact that the DSS came across this way that it has, it's looking like an arm of the Tinubu campaign organization, which they say, I mean, opposition members are saying that is why the agency is issuing a statement like a gossip or a tabloid blog and creating more tension rather than arresting and prosecuting the individuals it says it's identified. I mean, what is your reaction to that?
But I think these are political times. You expect politicians to say whatever suits their fancy. And of course, we expect different kinds of rhetoric, not just among themselves, but against agencies of government. I also want to believe that that agency is populated by very experienced, intelligent people, people who are well educated. They are not extraterrestrial beings. They are located within us, so they know us, they know the system, and of course, they are also Nigerians, so they want public good. That's the regular, ordinary thing, tried thing to believe. And I want to look at it in that light. They're probably operating in the best interest of the nation until we see evidence to the contrary. So politicians will make their own imputations, but the important thing is for us to just realize that whatever people are doing, whatever people are saying is out of passion for this country. And our voices can be louder than each other, but of course, that's where tolerance comes in, That's where we need to calm ourselves, Somebody might be louder than you in speaking. It's not his fault, it's his nature. Somebody might even be more aggressive than yourself. It's not his fault, it's his nature. But the bottom line is for us to understand that it's an equal love that we have for this country that is making people to sound like that. It's a matter of passion, What we need to find is just, we'll be looking for is a common ground, a compromise position, because we are trying to build democracy. And I dare say that despite these exchanges, and a differentiated disable, we are rather consolidating and deepening democracy in another light. Because very shortly, Charles, you see this controversy hopefully fizzling out and we'll be moving into the next stage. This controversy around interim national government, brought upon us by the military. We are still withdrawing, we are still affected by withdrawal syndrome, leaving the military regime. If not for the military, nobody will be talking about interim national government now that we're talking about it. But now that it's rearing its head again, I'm confident that it will soon fizzle out and we'll move to the next stage of discussion. It could be maybe the build-up to the swearing in or the programs and policies of the incoming administration, as the case could be. So it's a passing stage,
right? And
I'm optimistic that we'll go through this difficult time.
Well, I certainly hope so. But I mean, you talked about the inauguration, which is kind of the next big thing on the calendar that is coming up. What's the mood of this country as that inauguration approaches? I mean, you're there in the universities, you're out there, you're talking to the youth, you're taking the pulse of the nation. What is your sense of where Nigeria is at the moment? And is it looking like that inauguration is going to be a bit of an anticlimax?
Yeah, I think it's not too different from what you experience in a period of transition. Back to that description again, it's one of mixed feelings, and one of anxiety, one of some subtle uncertainty. Will the next administration be better than this one? But even before then, what's going to be, how will the judicial, will the intervention of the judiciary pan out? Will it go south, north, west, east, or center? Where will it go? That's the kind of concern that the average citizen, the youths are having. But overall, something is central to all positions, the quest for peace, the quest for progress, the desire for development, and if this could come at some point, one way or the other, if we could get more assurance, in this respect, I'm not sure the level of anxiety that we're probably witnessing now will not reduce. And that's why we're saying that this is the time, for elders, statesmen, political leaders to rein in from their own corners, coming from an elevated point of view, trying to calm frayed nerves, talking to political parties, political groups, individuals, we're able to be conciliatory, in their pronouncements, realizing that, it's a time that every nation is a phase that every nation will definitely go through. And this is also a major stage in nation building. What's nation building, I mean, it's an anecdotal construction of how you build homes. It takes painstaking process, one step after the other, one unit after the other. This is one unit, one step, one installment of nation building that we are in. We do not have to allow it to collapse. Otherwise, the gains we have made in past years will be lost. That's not what we really want, Charles.
Very wise words. Prof, thank you very much indeed. Professor Abiodun Adeniyi is a political commentator, Professor of Communications and Deputy Dean of the Postgraduate School at Bayes University in Abuja. Thank you.
Thank you, Charles. God bless you.
That's it for this edition of Arise Prime Time. Join us again tomorrow from me and the entire team here in Abuja. Bye-bye and thank you for watching.